India's billion-dollar CSR gamble, unbelievable true stories. Picture this, a country actually forces its biggest companies to be kind. Yeah, you heard that right. To spend billions not on shiny new factories or fat executive bonuses, but on doing good for society. Sounds a bit like a fairy tale, doesn't it? Or maybe a disaster waiting to happen? Well, in India, it's very real, and it's led to a massive $18 billion surge in social spending in just one recent year. But it's also stirring up some pretty tricky questions. This is the story of a world first, a huge gamble on making kindness compulsory for corporations. Back in 2013, India did something no other country had ever dared. It passed a law, the Companies Act, that made corporate social responsibility, CSR for short, mandatory for its large companies. If firms hit certain profit, net worth, or turnover numbers, they had to spend at least 2% of their average net profits on helping society. A minimum 2%. Suddenly, doing good wasn't just about looking good, it was the law. This wasn't just a minor policy tweak, it was a multi-billion-dollar bet. But the big question was, would this forced kindness genuinely change society for the better, or would it just become another bureaucratic hoop to jump through? As we're about to see, the answers are a wild mix of amazing transformations and some brand new headaches. Section 1. The legal quake that shook the boardrooms. Before this law landed, CSR in India was mostly a nice-to-do thing, a bit of charity work on the side for most companies. Seriously, only about 10% of publicly traded companies were really chipping in a big way. So, the 2013 Act, it was like an earthquake in the corporate world. It meant companies had to set up CSR committees, create detailed plans, and get their social spending audited just as strictly as their financial accounts. This wasn't just about writing checks. It was about weaving social impact right into the heart of how businesses operated. The goal was to move companies from a profit-only focus to acknowledging what they owed back to the society whose resources they were using. Section 2. From charity cases to strategic must-dos. You could almost feel the culture shift. Boardrooms across India, a country with ancient traditions of giving back, were now legally required to make social good a priority. And guess what? Compliance rates shot up, hitting a staggering 97-98% by 2020. This law even applied to foreign companies working in India, sending ripples across the globe. It wasn't just about charity anymore. It was about making a strategic, measurable difference. Just in the financial year 2024, listed companies upped their CSR spending by 16% to nearly $118,000 crore. That's about $2.15 billion US dollars, all thanks to rising profits and that legal push. Section 3, Pearl 1, Tata Group, Generations of Giving Supercharged. Now, some companies like the Tata Group had CSR practically running through their veins long before any law came along. But this new mandate, it was like a supercharger for them. Tata's deep investments in education, healthcare, and helping rural areas were already legendary. We're talking schools in the middle of nowhere, hospitals for those who couldn't afford care. With the legal framework, these efforts got even more structured and scaled up, clearly improving millions of lives. And the kicker, it also boosted Tata's brand and made their employees even more loyal, showing that doing good could actually be good for business. Section 4, Pearl 2, ITC Limited, Greening the Bottom Line. Then you've got ITC Limited. Their Mission Sunera Kal, which means Golden Morrow, is like a masterclass in looking after the environment. They didn't just go around planting a few trees, they transformed dry, barren landscapes with massive watershed development projects. This didn't just save water, it helped farmers earn more and made ITC's own supply chains more secure. ITC proved that taking care of the planet wasn't just an expense, it was a smart way to build a stronger business and help communities thrive. Section 5, Pearl 3, Hindustan. Unilever, empowering a nation, one entrepreneur at a time. And how about Hindustan Unilever's Project Shakti? This initiative is all about empowering women in rural areas, turning them into micro-entrepreneurs who distribute Unilever products in their villages. It's a brilliantly simple idea with profound results. Thousands of women have been lifted out of poverty, gaining financial independence and a new standing in their communities. And for Shuyuel, they got an incredible distribution network reaching right into the heart of rural India. A genuine win-win, really, nudged along by the need to think differently about how to engage with society. Section 6. The Gamble's Edge, Miracles and Murmurs. The numbers involved are pretty mind-boggling. We're talking annual CSR investments in India now hitting around $30,000 crore. That's about $3.6 billion USD. Between 2014 and 2019 alone, spending jumped by 85%. Projects in education, healthcare, and sanitation have brought real, visible changes. But, like any big gamble, this one has its shadowy corners. Some critics say that for certain companies, it's just become about ticking boxes, focusing on compliance rather than genuine desire to help. There's also a bit of a geographical lottery, with industrialized states getting most of the funds, while less developed regions, like the northeastern states, receive less than 1%. And get this, new research even suggests that mandatory CSR actually increased borrowing costs for companies because investors were a bit wary of less free cash floating around, though being transparent about spending did help ease that. Finding trustworthy NGO partners and making sure projects have a lasting impact, not just a quick splash, are still ongoing headaches. These stories? They're just scratching the surface of India's massive CSR experiment. If you're finding this journey through forced kindness as fascinating and complicated as I do, definitely hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We explore more game-changing ideas like this every week, and I'm really curious to know what you think. Drop a comment below. Do you believe a law forcing companies to do good could actually work in your country? Why or why not? Section 7. A Global Laboratory for Responsible Capitalism. Despite the bumps in the road, India's CSR mandate has definitely turned the country into a global testing ground for a new kind of capitalism. It sparked fresh ideas in social investment, encouraged businesses and the government to work together, and is shaping a new wave of business leaders who see profit and purpose as two sides of the same coin. The focus is slowly but surely moving from just ticking the compliance box towards making a real, long-term difference and lining up with broader goals for sustainable development. You can bet other countries are watching closely, learning from India's wins and its struggles. So, India's billion-dollar CSR gamble? It's more than just a piece of legislation. It's a story that's still unfolding. It has fundamentally changed how businesses see their place in society, freeing up huge amounts of money for social good and leading to some incredible, often unexpected, positive changes. But it's also thrown a spotlight on the tricky parts, like how to ensure companies are genuinely committed, how to spread the benefits fairly, and how to make sure the impact lasts. The debate isn't over. Is this the best way to drive social change? The unbelievable true stories certainly show the incredible potential, while the criticisms remind us there's still a way to go. What's undeniable is that India took a bold, pioneering step, forcing a global conversation, and more importantly, action, on a scale we've never seen before. The final outcome of this high-stakes play for a more equitable future is still being written. Actionable steps for viewers. Become informed. Learn about your own country's CSR or social responsibility laws and how companies are supposed to help society. Hold companies accountable. If you're an investor, employee, or consumer, ask companies for transparent, publicly available reports on their social impact. Support genuine efforts. Choose products and services from businesses that show real, measured commitment to long-term positive change. Advocate for better distribution. Add your voice to the call for CSR projects to reach neglected, remote, or marginalized communities, not just prosperous ones. Partner up for change. If you're with an NGO, school, or local authority, reach out to companies eligible for CSR spending to propose meaningful collaborations. Reward innovation. Highlight and celebrate stories of creative social investment, like transforming wastelands, empowering rural women, or building sustainable supply chains. Push for impact, not just compliance. Whether you're in a boardroom or a classroom, challenge the focus from just spending the money to measuring and reporting real lasting outcomes. Monitor for greenwashing. Stay skeptical of flashy CSR PR. Look for third-party audits, local testimonials, and credible impact data. Encourage civic participation. Volunteer or get involved in CSR projects in your city or town to witness and shape the change firsthand. Spread the conversation. Share stories, documentaries, or articles about successful and problematic CSR examples to inspire debate and raise awareness.